This episode is brought to you by the CNY Women's Network, a media and PR company connecting and celebrating women professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders across Central New York. From networking experiences and wellness pop ups to our annual CNY Women's Summit, which is the largest event for women leaders in this region, we're building a community where women feel seen, supported, and inspired to grow. We're currently partnering with sponsors for our 2026 event season, including the CNY Women's Summit, our walking club, co-working meetups, fitness pop-ups, editorial campaigns, you name it. If your brand is passionate about empowering women and making meaningful community connections, we'd love to collaborate. You can start the conversation and learn more by heading to cnywomensnetwork.com/opportunities. That's cnywomensnetwork.com/opportunities. Now let's get into today's episode. Welcome to Cultivate, a space for powerful conversations that help you grow personally, professionally, and with purpose. If you're new here, welcome. I'm your host, Alex, and it means so much that you're choosing to spend your precious time with us today. My only hope is that you walk away with a piece of inspiration or something you feel called to share with someone else. Today, you're going to hear what it really takes to build a purpose-driven company in healthcare, the emotional weight of leadership, the mindset shift from founder to operator, and what has to die in you in order to grow. We'll talk about power, how it changes as you evolve. We talk about family and business, what's beautiful and what's hard. We talk about burnout, boundaries, the systems you must build if you want your service to be sustainable instead of sacrificial. And we talk about legacy, not as a buzzword, but as a responsibility. My guest today is Gwen Crossett. Gwen is a registered nurse with over 20 years of experience serving elders and individuals with progressing diseases. She also brings a background in social work, which deeply shapes the way she leads with both compassion and structure. She founded her company, Constant Care 24/7, 9 years ago on her own, and is now in the process of acquiring a licensed home care agency, expanding into comprehensive nursing and care services. Her family is now part of the business, and her impact extends far beyond her company. Gwen is deeply involved in the community through the Alzheimer's Association and serves on the board of directors for the American Heart Association. And in addition to caring for her patients, she mentors future nurses and healthcare professionals, building ladders behind her as she climbs. This conversation is about identity before titles, it's about redefining success beyond income, and it's about leading in vulnerable spaces with strength and integrity. So whether you're building a business, leading a team, caring for someone you love, or stepping into a calling that feels bigger than you, I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive in. Gwen Crossett, welcome to Cultivate.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited. We were just having a little powwow before we hit record. I think this is going to be an amazing conversation. So before the business and before the titles, who were you when you decided to start Constant Care 24/7?
Yeah, so I was a mom of 3 children. My husband traveled pretty much 160 days a year, and my career kind of took a back seat because I was raising children, I was supporting his career, and our youngest daughter was probably 11 or 12, and I just was like really not fulfilled at work, and I just decided to take the leap with no plan whatsoever. I was like, okay, I know all this stuff and I'm going to just go out and try to help people. And it went from 0 to 100 in about 2 seconds. So I didn't realize how much I actually knew. And then the business started to evolve as I got clients. So it was 9 years ago this month.
Wow,
Yeah.
this month, happy
Yes. Thank
anniversary.
you. Thank you.
Were you in a caretaking role prior to starting the business?
Yeah, so I was well, first I started out before I became a nurse. I was going to social work school. Always had a hankering to be a nurse. I always wanted to be a nurse, and for whatever reason, life circumstances, lack of a support, really, just in my outside life, not necessarily my husband, but just not, had it in the back of my mind, but didn't really pursue it until my kids were 3 and 6. I had a bachelor's in social work and I was going to get my master's, and I'm like, well, I don't want to do this. I want to become a registered nurse. So I went to school with the kids when they were little and made it through really quickly, as quickly as I could. And then I started working at Kraus on the oncology unit. And that's really where my passion for helping people around their disease process and helping the families really was really important to me. So I went to Kraus, and then I ended up leaving and going to Loretto for about 13 years and did various different jobs there and learned a lot about senior living and home care. And then I wanted something more. So then I started my own business.
Yeah. You centered your life around helping people in very vulnerable positions. How has that shaped the way you view leadership?
I mean, one of the things, I started out with me, myself, and I. I was the caregiver, and then quickly we scaled and hired people. But I think that just literally reading the room and listening to where my client is, and figuring out what they want, plus figuring out what my employees need from me. And trust me, I've made mistakes over the 9 years, but I think right now, with my coaches and just education and the help that I have around me, we have a pretty strong leadership team, and I feel confident that I'm not in the daily operations of the business at this time.
That is a
So,
huge accomplishment. We were
yes,
just talking about that. And it's really hard to get to that point, especially when you start the business alone.
yes.
What part of entrepreneurship did no one prepare you for when you started the business?
So many things because what you don't know, and I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew my mission of being able to help people come home and die at home, help people live at home with services. But it was the infrastructure, the regulations, the licensing, the Department of Labor, and how we hire employees and how do we retain employees, how do we not get in trouble, sexual harassment training, all of the things that as a registered nurse and a social worker nobody prepared me for. So I had to go and find those things out, sometimes by making mistakes, and other times just asking for help with other experts.
Yeah, the rules and regulations end of the business is like the least sexy part, right?
Mhm.
But having really good people on your team is everything, especially people that know best. Were there
Yes.
any people that you reached out to help you out with those things?
In the very beginning, we had a really good friend who was an accountant. He was our CPA, was our personal CPA. He and his wife, good friends of mine, they had a wealth of knowledge. Just would I'd call them up and be like, "What about this? What about that?" They would give me good advice. My husband, who I don't think I could do all the things that I've done if it wasn't for him. He is an attorney, which is very helpful.
Very helpful.
And even though he doesn't practice like labor law or human resource type of things, he's a smart guy, and he's always able to uh, advise me or point me in the right direction. So I'm very fortunate to have him. And then the rest of my team, they're all really devoted people. I have some longevity with my employees, and why we've brought our son into the business, who has an MBA, and so he's operational, and he's brought some exciting new things and new ways to look at things because, I kind of look at myself like I'm a little bit of a dinosaur, right? I'm an older lady. And he brings in technology and that new, fresh perspective. And that's been very helpful and eye opening. So, yeah,
That's awesome. It sounds like you've got a great support system.
I do.
Building a business in end of life care, just healthcare in general, is very emotionally heavy work. So, how do you balance both profit and people?
Yeah. So, one of the things I always say to myself and I tell other people, I'm really good with other people's problems. I mean, if you have a problem, I'm good at it. I can solve your problem. I'm a problem solver. I think being a registered nurse, that's what we're taught to do is, nobody comes to us with no problem list, right? Or being a social worker. And so I feel like I have a talent to listen to the dynamics of the family. We deal with family dynamics. We deal with emotions. So I think I've been really good at doing that. But there has been times when it's affected me personally, and I've made some changes because there's always a need. There's more of a need than what we can sometimes, we can't help everybody. And so saying no, or this isn't the right fit, I have really good relationships with other competitors. So we refer business out to other competitors. But, that's something, me taking care of myself and my own mental health has really come to the forefront in the last like 3 or 4 years. because this business was eating me alive a little bit. I'll
Yeah.
be very honest about that. Yep.
What do you think has shifted for you? What are some of the things that you started doing and maybe stopped doing to kind of protect your peace?
I think one of the things we did was hire more people, because we were running on what I call a skeleton crew. And I think, bringing more people into the business and letting the profit margin go down was hugely helpful because that I was really burnt out. And, you know, I mean, I need to make a living. My husband's retired, so I'm the sole supporter of the family now, but it's not all about the money. And it never really was to get into it anyways, because when Peter was working, we were doing fine with just his incomes, but I wanted to do something just on my own and didn't know what it would turn into. And then it turned into enough of a business where we both could not continue to go at the level that we were going at. He was going in one direction, I was going in another. And there was no quality of life there. So he said, I wanna retire and I don't want to travel anymore. I said, okay, come help me. So he left his law practice and retired from his law practice. And we kind of we're a little bit of a team, or a lot of bit of a team. We work together, we hang out together, we're together a lot. But he's been really helpful and he's helped me find that balance. And I feel like the money is not my driving force, and it never really has been. So, taking care of myself, working out, exercising, yoga, getting away, things like that, and not being at the office every day. I mean, my employees probably see me in person once every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, which has been great, and they don't want me there. I'm a disruptor. So,
I believe that. No, I mean, a lot of us start businesses for so many different reasons. And a lot of it really is to be able to have the control over your time and your environment. So if you're able to work in an environment that's best for you and have a flexible lifestyle, I don't know if flexible is the right word because you are probably working 24/7 or just a lot, but to be able to be the owner of a business and to come into the office once every 3 weeks, I mean, sounds like you've kind of figured it out a little bit.
yeah. Yeah, not right away though. It took some time. 9 years later, I think I just figured it out about a month ago.
Yeah, and I think a lot of
So,
people look at, women like you and just entrepreneurs like you and, all the success that's happening for you right now, but there are the very humbling early days that
mhm,
happen there. And you would talk about, really what shifted you from this skeleton crew and this burnout was taking the risk and hiring more people so
mhm.
you could keep going. And I think a lot of people resist that, especially when they
Yes.
know the margins are going to drop. What kind of leader did you have to become in order to scale like that? Did your leadership change or did your perception of leadership change?
I think we talked about this a little bit off camera. I don't know it all, and I never thought I knew it all. And I always looked for help, whether it was other women in the community. My women's presidents organization is highly valuable. The coaching that I've hired over the years, and getting to that next level has been being able to bounce those things off of people and realizing that you cannot do it all. You cannot be the pie maker and sell all the pies, because you can, but you're only going to grow to a certain, level. One of my coaches says, the things that I remember is what got you here isn't going to get you there. Like I say
Mhm.
that to myself a lot. Not all money is good money. Those are the things I live by, because sometimes you're in these situations where you have to make decisions and you're like, wait a minute, this is not a good fit for our business. Not all money is good money. I need to refer this client to somebody else that can help them in a better way. Or why am I not getting to the next level? Well, because you're doing the same thing over and over again. So that's the part I really like about entrepreneurship and owning a business, is there's always learning every single day. And it is true. I'm not always working. I have grandchildren. I have kids that don't live in the state. I like to, you know, go on our boat. I like to play,
Yeah. You like to
but
have fun.
I do. I do. I like to have fun. I'm a very social human being. But from the time I wake up in the morning till the time my eyes close at night, that business is on my mind, or some business, right? It
Yeah.
could be something else. Like, oh, should we do this or should we do that? It doesn't stop. You can't shut it off.
Yeah.
If you're that type of person. There are people that can go to work at 9 and leave at 5, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've just never been able to do that.
Yeah, I hear
So,
that.
yeah.
You're kind of like an obsessive person.
In that way, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not an obsessive exerciser.
I
But
hear that.
yeah.
What's the beautiful thing about building business with family? Now that you have your son working with you, your husband decided to join the ship.
Our daughter-in-law is actually working a little bit with us. Our son is trying to get a little bit more involved. So before we actually had family brought into the business, I was ready to sell the business. I was really pretty like, okay, we can do this for 3 more years, then we're gonna retire and go off into the sunset, and it'll still probably, be there without me. And part of that was burnout, thinking that way. But our son came home from New York City, and there was actually a position was available, and we put him in that position as an operations manager. He's got an MBA. He's good with numbers. Didn't know anything about healthcare, but it's been great to see him every day. It's been great to see him evolve and change, and actually like what he's doing. He feels like it's meaningful. He doesn't want to go to work and sell widgets. He wants to go to work and be doing something that is aligns with his,
Gives him purpose.
yes, gives him purpose, and he has an undergraduate in social entrepreneurship, so it's like doing good but making money at doing that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like my mother's 891. He sees her aging. Our good friends of ours, Carl and Nancy. He gets to see that what we do really makes a difference with people, and I think just watching him grow and embrace that has been wonderful. Just seeing our kid every day, or talking to him every day, and having him be in Syracuse has been great. My husband has been really kind of hands off, but now he's really in the business. We I fire him a couple times a week. That's
Love
fun.
that. I can only imagine
Yeah.
what that discussion looks
Yeah.
like.
And our daughter-in-law is also a registered nurse. She's down in North Carolina. She's doing some things for us, just behind the scenes, which has been, so everybody's getting involved. It's a family affair. But I will tell you that it can be scary too, because the last thing I will ever do is not be able to have relationships with my family. There's nothing that's more important to me than my family. And so if I had to walk away from the business today to preserve any of those relationships, that's exactly what I would do. We've actually had some coaching around it. We went through a family leadership program through St. John Fisher, which I found was very helpful. Because as you talk to people and have family businesses, a lot of families don't talk. They end up not talking. They end up severing relationships. And I worry about that sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Gosh.
yeah.
Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Canon Advisory Group, a trusted partner for entrepreneurs and small business owners across the country. At Canon Advisory Group, their mission is simple: to make managing your finances easier so you can focus on what really matters, growing your business. From bookkeeping and payroll to strategic consulting, their experienced team works across industries like healthcare, technology, finance, and manufacturing to provide personalized, detail-oriented support. Whether you're a startup or an established company, Canon Advisory Group helps you streamline operations, stay compliant, and move forward with confidence. To learn more, you can visit canonadvisorygroup.com. This episode is brought to you by the Central New York Community Foundation, an organization that helps make Central New York a place where people can truly thrive. From youth programs in arts and culture to safe housing, crisis response, parks and recreation, workforce development, and access to opportunity, their impact touches nearly every corner of our community. And now they're launching a new podcast called Sincerely CNY. It's going to be a love letter to this region, hosted by President and CEO Melanie Littlejohn. There's going to be intimate conversations with the quiet champions and visionary leaders shaping the future of Central New York, and you're not going to want to miss out. So keep your eyes out for its launch and get ready to experience the heart, purpose, and future of this region. Signed, Sincerely, CNY. You've done the leadership course. Have there been any like hard lessons that you've had to learn, or maybe someone in the family's had to learn about this whole dynamic?
Absolutely. I mean, I've always been in charge, right? I was the decision maker. I made all the decisions, and that has shifted now. Now I have to kind of go to the Crossett board and
Yeah.
ask for approval before I do things. Um,
Was that a hard pill to
it is.
swallow?
It still can be difficult sometimes because these are my ideas. This is, I know this business better than anyone in my family, but I also have realized that with the other expertise around me, with my son who's got the MBA, my daughter-in-law who's a younger nurse, my husband who's an attorney, keeping people out of trouble, I've learned to listen more. Let's put it that way. When it comes to my business, I'm not a great listener because I'm going at about 100 miles an hour because I just want to get to the end result. I don't like to be bogged down by the details of things. But I have those people around me that can say, "Hey, let's slow down. Let's do this. Let's think about this." And it's been very helpful, which
Yeah.
has given me more balance. Yeah.
Yeah, and we could all use a little bit more of that, right? I have a feeling you and I are like the same CEO.
Mhm.
I need to First I need to build a family and then I need to go into business with a family. That's definitely a goal. That's awesome. So how do you protect relationships while still running a real company? What did you learn in this leadership course at St. John Fisher?
We learned a lot. It's actually my son who went through it, and then we were invited in with certain guest speakers and those kinds of things. But what I really learned is that if you don't talk about these things, put certain things on paper and we have family meetings. Like I'm like, what do you mean a family meeting? Like who does that? We actually schedule family meetings and have an itinerary, a PowerPoint presentation.
I love
And
it.
that was one of the things that they advised us to do because it really comes down to the communication, if you're hiding things from one of your family members who eventually, may want to take over your business or, we could become passive owners. Who knows? We're not there yet, but the communication is huge. And really listening to other families and their struggles and what they did right, what they didn't do right. I will not sacrifice any relationship for money in a business. I just won't when it comes to my last name and the people that are involved. Um, and being a business owner and having employees and they have families and they have lives, that's actually more difficult sometimes because you have to make decisions based on what's good for the business. And some of those decisions may not be good for that person, right? But you have to protect your overall business. So it's not just the lives that we deal with our clients, it's the lives that we are supporting and, we're feeding families. I mean, we're helping feed families and a lot of them. So that's a huge pressure, actually.
Yeah.
That's more of a pressure than just our mission and what we do, our service. I think that is nobody really realizes what is it like to make a payroll,
Yeah.
and the pressure behind that. And, our business is so it changes on a daily basis. Our clients come in, they go out. I mean, every week we have a new client or we have a client that leaves or we have 3 new clients that come in and 2 new clients that go out. So, keeping a certain revenue stream so that we can make sure that all of those positions are, they stay where they are is a lot.
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Mhm.
And like that's the kind of pressure, especially as a first time business owner, that can keep you stuck if you don't have the ability to be resourceful, ask for help,
Mhm.
reach out. I've struggled with that myself. I feel like I've had to sacrifice myself and sacrifice things personal to me because I feel yeah, I mean you are indebted to
Mhm.
the people that work for you and you are responsible for making payroll and making sure that they receive a paycheck every week. That's a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm the last one to get paid, right?
Yep.
And just making sure that that is sustainable. That's really where my focus is now is like continuing to sustain the operation and the people that are in the operation and, you know, 'Cause I mean, competition's competition, I'm at the older end of my career, and there's obviously young, people coming in, and there's nothing wrong with that, and they should, because we can't work forever.
Hmm.
But, the climate has changed, so really staying relevant is really at the forefront of one of my daily thoughts,
Yeah.
so.
And what is your strategy for that right now? I mean, you came in today, you're fired up, you're feeling really fired up about your business right now. How are you guys staying relevant?
So I think technology has changed. We're starting with a new platform that runs our entire business, our scheduling and our billing system. I mean, it's a huge changeover after 9 years. We're implementing that starting this month. A huge undertaking that has AI embedded in it. There's a lot of things that it can do that will streamline our business and make us more efficient, which will enable us to grow. And that decision did not come lightly. We looked at a system about 2 years ago and onboarded with them. And then I'm like, if I heard the word workaround one more time, so we pulled the plug on that. But I think we've done enough due diligence where I'm praying that this will be the system. So that's one of the things that we're doing as a company, and we need to embrace AI, and I'm embracing it. You have to be careful with what you're doing with it, but it's here to stay, and you gotta get on board or you're gonna be left in the dust. Just trying to do things more efficiently with recruiting and hiring, and onboarding and orientations, and we have open recruiting all the time because of the way our business is. So, really trying to streamline those systems, which takes a lot of time in the beginning, but looking at the light at the end of the tunnel, and also, I think, ensuring that your employees are not scared they're gonna lose their job, because their jobs are gonna change. Everybody's job's gonna my job's changed since I've started, right? And it's tough sometimes when people don't wanna embrace change, but it's the only way to go. You can't time doesn't stop and things change, so.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what business you're in,
Exactly.
things are going to constantly be changing and you need to be very agile, especially
Mhm.
now. I mean, things change so quickly now because of AI and technology.
Yes. There's one thing that AI cannot replace, and that's people taking care of people. There are things that you can implement in homes, and technology like cameras and certain kind of electronic caregiver information systems, but people still need people.
You'll never be able to replace human connection.
Mm-mm. No, and
Yeah.
that's what we do. So
That's what gives me hope about my business is that what we are creating is just human
yeah.
connection and hope, as we grow, I'm just hoping that that doesn't change for people. I don't think it has. I think especially we started it, about 3 years after the pandemic had started. And I think that people really realize the
hmm
importance of human connection again.
I don't I mean, I like Zoom meetings, like, so, because I don't have to come into the office all the time, but I do like to sit there with my directors and see them face to face every once in a while. It gives a different feel. I like in-person summits such as yours that's coming up. I think people need that. The Zoom, we all got zoomed out, and I like to connect with people on a one-to-one or a group setting. I think it's really important, and I think that we should try to keep that, as our young people are getting into the workforce. Being young and working at home in the beginning can be really difficult, and it's lonely. It can be very
Yeah.
lonely.
Yeah.
So,
I'm like kind of trying to figure out where to take my remote work. I'm like
mhm.
looking around at other co-working spaces, just seeing what's out there. I kind of want to hop around so I can just
Yes.
experience and network with different people. But I think with the in person, we've seen it just with our events, our virtual events, aside from our community calls, when we have gone to host other virtual events, they just weren't worth it for us because they just were not well attended. Maybe it's because we built this audience off of live events,
Mhm.
because we are such a regional brand. But I've even seen it with other kind of similar um, brands and businesses in our space, and it just seems like these online communities are not working for people anymore.
Mhm.
But I think that there's such a physical element to being in person, and it's not just feeling other people's energy and shaking the hand, but it's also getting yourself dressed and
Yes.
putting on your face and
Right.
like putting yourself in rooms where you are kind of rising to the occasion and
Mhm.
being that highest version of themselves, but presenting in that way too is also like a lot happens for you, I think, when you kind of show up as the person you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think webinars are great for certain things for an hour, but I don't wanna sit on a conference in a webinar. I won't That's not me. I'd run a First of all, it's a reason to get away, right? You can go to San Diego, you can go to
Yes.
Florida and go to
Get
these great
inspired. Go
Exactly,
somewhere new. That's
exactly.
like half of the fun of it
Yes,
and the
yes.
magic of it too. I mean, just putting yourself in a completely new environment
Yeah,
is key.
and you never know who you're gonna meet.
No, I mean, I cannot wait to get to another summit. Usually I wait until later in the year
Mhm.
after our summit's over. We're almost there.
Yeah.
We're in the final run. So pray for me, Gwen.
Okay. I don't think I have to, but I will anyways.
So you also mentor future nurses and healthcare professionals. What do you think the next generation of leaders needs to learn and maybe unlearn right now?
Well, I mean, I think it depends. If you talk to people in healthcare or going into healthcare or have been in healthcare, it is highly it's actually a disappointing profession in a lot of ways because when we go to school, we want to, they teach us the textbook way and then floor nurses last 5 years and then they're out. Nurses are getting out of the profession after 5 years. We need to change that. This is like
That's like no
who's gonna
time at
take care of
all.
you when you're, 70 or 80 or 90? And it's already a problem now. We don't have the longevity anymore. We're understaffed. There are not enough people doing the profession or just not even just nursing, just doctors, PAs, physical therapists, you name it, social workers, because everybody in those positions has too much work to do and nobody can do a good job. And that's the fact.
Yeah.
You're really supposed to take care of 4 or 5 patients on a floor. You're looking at taking care of 9 or 10, and they're sick. They're not well patients. They're sicker than they've ever been. Caregivers, people that actually do all the hands-on work, the CNAs, the home health aides, the PCAs, they're in facilities and they're taking care of sometimes 20 people. Like, think about that. 20 people that need to be changed and bathed and fed and gotten out of bed and dressed. And it's really an impossibility. But I'm here to say to people that want to go into the profession is that, they're all different things that you can do with your degree. And I mean, you can own a business. You can, you know, there's so much to do. But you have to want to, it has to be kind of a calling, right? If you're getting into it for the money, it's probably not a good idea and you're going to be miserable. I have just been connected with one of the nursing schools in the area, and I'm going to go speak to them about, what the profession can look like and what the possibilities look like. Because when you go to school, you're just going to school, and nobody's really talking about, what home care is. Home care is a very family friendly business to be in. You can work Monday through Friday, you can work part-time, you can work per diem, you can raise a family, there's a lot of things you can do. So I like to encourage people. I'm not one of those people that, oh, don't be a nurse. Don't just it's awful, it's terrible. I would never say that. It's one of my top 3 decisions in my life. One of them was, meeting my husband and marrying him. Second was my children, obviously having my 3 kids. And then the third thing I did right was go to nursing school. So I am one of those nurses that wants to help people stay in the profession and find the right niche for them, or go on and be a nurse practitioner or, an educator or something. Because we need these people. Constant Care 24/7 has taken our caregivers and supported them through school and helped them and paid for some some tutoring assistance to help them pass their boards. Because I can think of one person in particular. She had a language barrier. It wasn't that she couldn't, do the curriculum, but it was difficult for her to pass the boards because of the language barrier. So we sponsored her, and she passed her boards, and she's been working as a nurse, a registered nurse, I think for about 3 or 4 years now. So things like that, you come to our company, you can work and go to school. We will support you. We will help you. We will encourage you. And we will show you that there's a lot of, it's not just hospital or nursing home nursing. So I love doing that. And that's kind of what kind of fills my cup up, is not, is really watching the next generation come up and embrace this. So
Yeah, it goes far beyond your business. You're like advocating for this entire industry.
yes.
And it really is such honorable work. I mean, I ran into a group of nurses in the bathroom a couple weeks ago at Tallman, and I go, "What do you guys do? What are you guys studying?" And they're like, "Oh, we're going to be nurses." And I just looked at them and I go, "That's God's work. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. You are some of the most selfless people there are to exist now." And I just think that the conditions are really tough right now for
Mhm.
them. And what nurses need more of is support and
Mhm.
encouragement. And they need to be celebrated more and to feel like the work that they're doing is meaningful. And that's certainly one of the areas in CNY Women's Network that we want to like develop more support and community for is like, what are we doing for our nurses here?
Mhm.
I mean, the healthcare industry here is insane. Why don't
Mhm.
we have something for all of the amazing nurses that are in Syracuse?
Oh, well, ding, ding, ding. My brain is moving right now.
I mean,
I mean,
and
really, seriously,
what they
like
could
you're right.
use is more fun in their life and
Mhm.
more just simply just being celebrated more and like just to be reminded that y- you do matter and the work you are doing is so important.
Mhm.
We should talk. Let's talk
Yeah.
about
Oh,
this
now you have
afterwards.
me. I'll be thinking about this while I go to bed tonight.
Love that. Love that, Gwen. Think about me. Tell me your ideas in the morning. I'm here. I love it. How do you measure success now that you are 9 years into the business? You have grown, you have pivoted, you've brought the family in. Does success look like impact, freedom, legacy, peace?
Oh boy. Yeah. So success for me looks like number one, like we just talked about, I don't have to be in the daily operations in the business, right? So that's given me some more freedom. Freedom is huge. Freedom to get on an airplane and go see my little granddaughter, who is the cutest thing ever. Um, and just being able to do that, being able to not spend every day in the winter up here. We have been trying to get to warmer weather a few times over the winter. Having that freedom, and really developing and supporting a team that I can trust to be, when I'm gone. I know things like there were no major catastrophes when we were away for a week. And our son was with us, the one that works in the business. So what does that say about who's running our business while we're away? That means kudos to my team, right? That there were they weren't calling me, there were no fires to put out. Everything ran. So that's success to me. And then the thing that I really am enjoying right now and have more time for, because the last, I'd say 7 years, I was, hitting the ground running every day, not coming up for air, and just and that's where the burnout came in, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm in a position where I can give back. Where, I'm involved with the American Heart Association, Alzheimer's Association, and some other, smaller things that we do. That is enjoyable to me. It's rewarding. I want to be known as a company that isn't just profit driven, but we're really, what are we doing for the people that live in our community? What are we doing for our caregivers who are sometimes working 2 and 3 jobs? How can we make our company better? That's what I like to focus on now. So, and I finally have time for that because I have such a great team. So, yeah,
I love that for you. You're in a really good place right now.
yeah.
So, I mean, like you just mentioned, you're involved with the American Heart Association, you're involved with the Alzheimer's Association, which I love. How do you decide where to give your energy and voice as someone who's deeply involved in this community?
I think that, when you start making charitable contributions and and people start knowing who you are, and there's going to be more people that are always going to ask you for more, right? So that's where my family comes in, where we're like, okay, what is our budget this year for charitable contributions? What are we doing? Like, that's where I've never been good at. And so I'm having help with that right now. And you have to say no to certain organizations, but we've chosen strategically because Alzheimer's has affected us professionally, and it's certainly affected our families personally. So I'm connected there. I feel like it's a good cause for us to support. Everybody in my business has been affected by Alzheimer's, either professionally or personally. The American Heart Association, I got involved with that a couple of years ago, and then I just got on the board this year. Just great people. But I've also been affected by heart disease. I've had two good friends drop dead of heart attacks in their 50s. Just that's it, done.
Yeah.
So that's affected us. You know, women don't take care of themselves. They're the last one to go to the doctor. We really, my mission for American Heart, and they've done so many great things, is like, know your numbers and know what they mean. And I can speak from experience because I have high blood pressure and I wasn't managing it. And here I am telling everybody else how to manage it. So that kind of was like, wait a minute, you have to practice what you preach. So we've done some, blood pressure clinics with our caregivers, and trying to point them in the right direction. So that's an important cause for us. Are there more causes that are important? Yes. I mean, I have dreams and entrepreneurial not-for-profits that I'm starting in my mind
Yeah.
all the time.
Always, right? There's always a
Yes.
mission.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about events and just like in-person social engagements? You're a very busy woman, but you're also very involved in all the events and things that are happening here. How do you decide, you know, do I have the energy to give to this? Should I be going to this event, or
Mhm.
should I be prioritizing some of these other projects going on behind the scenes right now?
Yeah. So um, that's actually one of the questions that I'm trying to figure out the answer to that. And one of the things that, I'm kind of the marketer, the the salesperson, the community engagement person, and we're gonna be adding that position to our company, where I want to pass the baton and get the right person to be the sales, marketing, and engagement. And maybe it's two positions, I don't know, but um I think that'll help us stay engaged with our community, and not feel like I have to be at every event, because I can't be. But I also, we send some of our employees, but I want to formalize that a little bit more, and again, take my knowledge and download it to somebody else, so that they can do what I do.
Yeah.
So,
I hear that. You're preaching to the choir. I'm trying to figure out, how can I find a body double?
mhm,
That would be cool.
yes.
What's something you wish more women knew before starting a mission-driven business? So many women
Mm,
start mission-driven businesses, non-for-profits, organizations,
mhm,
and so many women are driven by the mission and not
mhm.
necessarily by the profit. I mean, you just said earlier, you're not driven by the money here. But when you're running a business, unfortunately, we have to make money, right?
Yeah. So one of the things that hit home with me, and this is when my kids were little, I used to watch the Oprah Winfrey show, right? She was like my idol, because
She's a baddie.
she's a baddie. Um, and I remember her saying, hire your weaknesses, right? Figure out what you're good at and do that, and don't try not to do all the other things that you are really not good at. Like, I'm not a good accountant, right? I can't write a budget. So I'm not doing those things. I never was doing those things, um
You were just
but
skating
but
by
really, yeah, really
until
figuring out what it is that you're good at and really focusing on that. And also, it's very difficult, especially, I think, and I don't mean to stereotype women, but we are emotional creatures. And understanding how we can look at it as a business and not and kind of keep the emotions out of it. And I don't have an answer. What works for one person might not work for another. I'm really bad at my own problems, but I'm really good with others. I know that about myself, but just really trying to get real with, you know, be honest with yourself. And may have to ask other people about what do you see me doing? What do you see me not doing?
Yeah.
And really
Be open
the
to that.
honesty, yes. And being able to have the criticism that comes along with it, because there are a lot of people that don't want to see us succeed.
Yeah.
And learning to surround yourself with people that do, and getting rid of those other.
Yeah. If there's anything I've started to realize, it's that there's some people out there that hate to see a woman happy, healthy, thriving, and having it all.
Yep.
And sometimes, if you know you're going to be around those people or that person, you almost have to like kind of not be so happy and not be so, oh, this is what's going great for me. And I think it's really important to be a very positive person and speak positively as much as possible. I believe words are spells. And if we're all to sit around and complain about our problems all day, then our problems would just magnify, right? So for me personally, as someone who really errs on the side of abundant, positive thinking and speaking, I've oddly realized that I've been met with a little bit of, contempt and lack of support simply because I'm like, I think people just want me to struggle.
Mhm.
They would rather me
Mhm.
talk about how much I'm struggling
Mhm.
than how well things are going for me. But I think, you're right in terms of I think us women being emotional creatures is really why we're such incredible leaders.
Mhm.
But as a business owner, it's so easy to, especially as a mission driven business owner, it's so easy to get your identity wrapped up in the outcomes of whatever you're trying to build. And the quicker you can detach and like really treat your business, the mission is not a game, the mission is real, but the business is a game. And you got to understand how to play chess, honey.
That is, you got that right, and there's one thing to be said about life experience and wisdom, right? I have a 19-year-old daughter who's going to be 20, and she's incredible. She doesn't know how incredible she is yet. She's got a bright future. She's but she it's hard. I mean, she's 19 and she's surrounded by a bunch of 19-year-olds, and they're all trying to find their way. And I think sometimes it just takes time, and you have to kind of be patient and just sit quiet and listen and watch, and really try to surround yourself with people that are going to push you forward, and being able to recognize the toxicity and getting rid of that toxicity, which can be, as a 25-year-old or 22, that's hard. I mean, I couldn't have done it because I didn't have the support. We didn't have the knowledge. We didn't have the social media. We didn't have things we could look up on Google. We
Yeah.
were just like watching other people and watching the 5 o'clock news and one talk show a day. So now it's almost like information overload. It can be hard. And there you have, I feel like your age group almost has too many choices, and it can just be like analysis
Yeah,
paralysis.
for sure.
So you have it easier and you have it harder.
Yeah.
Like,
You just have to get really good at discernment, I
mhm,
think. And that happens with time and experience.
mhm,
And I'm 27, almost 28, and I'm just now starting to be able to detect when something's off. And not only detect when something's off with someone, but now I actually have the confidence to say, I'm good. We don't have to be friends. It's
mhm,
okay. I would rather keep my circle small than be around someone that doesn't align.
mhm. That's a hard thing to do, though. But I commend you for that, if you can recognize that and start to do that, because you'll be a happier person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were not allowed to use titles, roles, or achievements, how would you define yourself today?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, some people call me crazy. Like I like to say, I am a little crazy. I mean, I'm not I call myself good crazy. I mean, yes, I'm a CEO and president, blah blah blah, founder. But how would I hopefully that the three people that I brought into this world think I'm a good mom. That's, probably the most important thing for me is being a good mom and a good wife. Um and just I feel like I am a little I am all over the place. But I enjoy that about myself, right? Like I get bored really easily. I need something new. I need something new to think about. So I'd say crazy and a good mom. Yep.
I love that. It's good to
Yep.
be. I think it's, we all need a little bit more fun in our lives. And you probably it seems like you're the kind of person that brings the fun into the room, which we all need more of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've become more reserved in my older age, but yes, I do like fun. I do. I like a good party. I like good conversation. I like to go travel. Yeah, I do. I like to have interesting conversations.
Same.
Yeah.
I feel that. All right, Gwen, this is my last question for
Okay.
you. What does a meaningful life look like to you?
Ah, meaningful. I am living a meaningful life right now. I think what I get up and do every day is the right thing to do. I really just want to be family's my, I want to spend more time with my kids. I want to enjoy the time we have together as a husband and wife, and all the kids are grown up and we can do whatever we want whenever we want to do it. And we don't have to ask anybody. That's so fun. But yeah, family to me is my most important thing. And I want to be remembered as, somebody who helped other people and a good grandma.
I
So
love that. It sounds like you're in an incredible place in life right now, Gwen, not only in business, but in life. And I'm so excited to see everything that you accomplish in 2026. I feel like this is going to be such a big year for you. Um, and this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so
oh
much for
well,
your time
thank
today.
you. Thank you for having me. It's been great. So thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to Cultivate CNY. If you enjoyed this conversation, I'd love it if you left us a quick review and made sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And if something in today's discussion resonated with you, please share it. Whether it's on social media or directly with a friend, you never know how hearing this conversation might be exactly what someone needs right now. And I love to hear your feedback. I love to hear your thoughts. So please be sure to tag us on social media if you do share there. This podcast is produced by Diam Media Group, a video production company based in Syracuse, New York. If you'd like to work with Diam Media for your next big campaign or maybe a podcast you'd like to get off the ground, head to diammedia.com to learn more. Until next time, I'm Alex Canavan, and I'll see you next Monday.